Wow! Can you see how bright, beautiful, free, not tied with tie? The African fabric and interiors can be. I'm sure you like what I'm wearing. Wow, make some noise if this makes you feel proudly African. God must be very happy seeing corporate Africans dress smartly like this and their premises so decorated. No wonder in 2001 he mandated me to emancipate corporate Africa from colonial dress code and interiors through the project Think Africa. The Think Africa project is an initiative aimed at resonating the rich African heritage in our corporate world through the optimal use of African fabrics to make smart corporate dress styles, as well as adorn our premises with subtle interior decorations of our artworks and fabrics. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it may interest you to know that when the Europeans arrived in Africa, the white employers used dressing to assert their supremacy. Hence, wearing the white man's clothes to do white-collar jobs here in Africa became the standard. Imagine Africans in dress styles designed by the West to suit their cold weather and aimed at attracting warmth in our temperate region. That now suffering and smiling, as Fela put it. But the issue now is that many years after we have been liberated from their grip and have now wholly gained freedom of thought, of speech, and of decision, we still have the mentality that their dress code and interiors are better than ours. So we wear white man's dress to do our business and our premises whose items of colonialism on African soil. What a mental and economic disaster. Africa, you are smarter than this. Do you know that corporate Africa spends huge sums of money on Western wardrobe at the peril of impoverishing our economy? Corporate Africa urgently needs mental adjustment program. We can't continue like this. The temperature, as we know it, is hot. I'm talking about the temperate weather in Africa. We all know that it is hot. We are mainly a dark-skinned race, and so God, in His magnanimity, gave Africa bright and beautifully designed fabrics to distract the sun ray and contrast with our dark skin to make us visible. And then the cotton texture to absorb heat easily. Do you know that dark, mundane colors like black, chocolate, navy blue, and brown, celebrated by corporates like the banks and such other organizations, attract heat and cause heat-related illnesses, including but not limited to heat stroke, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, heat rash, and fungal infection on the leg, popularly known as athlete's foot. Do you also know that clothing is an essential part of our identity, and that globally, the textile industry is a driver of growth and employment? You can ask China and Hungary. Clothing shapes and molds identity. Fashion may be a language spoken everywhere. It is deeply vernacular, but never a universal language. It is unifying and dignifying also. Therefore, the likes of Dr. Konje Iweala, former president of Ghana, Jerry Rawlings, and the convener of Bring Back Our Girls, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, understand this. Nigeria Interbank Settlement System PLC, where I work, has embraced it, and late Dr. Nelson Mandela demonstrated it. More than ever before, it has become critically important that corporate Africa must make dressing and our business premises a major factor of identifying who we are. To this end, I succinctly declare that it is unintelligent to dress like the West to do business in Africa. That perception, that suits, and all that go with it portray seriousness, or as some bankers will say, that it dignifies the banking profession, or the perception that suits exude confidence of of employee and the customer, they are all fallout of the colonial mentality. Tell me, is the banking function superior to Nelson Mandela's functions or that of Dr. Konji-Iweala's exploits globally? Just mental inferiority. It was Aniva who said, when you wear culture, you wear your crown. My people, I am telling you the truth. It's spiritual for ministers CASOC to be Africanized. It is very professionally corporate for banks, other financial institutions, oil and gas sector, and blue chip companies to wear smartly made African fabric attires as dress code. It's humane for doctors, nurses, and other medical personnel to incorporate African fabrics in the existing uniforms or design an entirely new uniform, that are truly African. It is absolutely glorious for choristers to wear African fabrics as angels will come down and join in their renditions. It's simply academic for graduating students to dress up in gowns adorned lavishly with African fabrics. It's formidable for the armed forces uniform to have a touch of African fabric. African bias interior decoration have never left anyone in doubt of how breathtaking African arts, fabrics, and designs can be. I also suggest that African leaders should attend international meetings dressed up in African fabric. So, what are we talking about? Our appeal is that Africa must reinvent the wheel and reinterpret the rules for her corporate African dress, her interiors, and her corporate gifts. They must reflect our culture, our weather, our social challenges, our economic needs, and our identity. Therefore, corporate Africa should, as a matter of urgency, use kente, adire, batik, Ankara, Guinea brocade, Wudin, Ashoke, Akwete, and Bogolanfini, and other African fabrics to create African corporate dress styles and showcase African accessories on corporate gifts and interior decorations in our premises. Distinguished chief executives, as Ade Shonubi has done in support of the growth of the Nigerian economy, I appeal to you to put your money where your mouth is by allowing corporate workforce to wear without inhibition smartly made corporate African dress styles, while the Western dress code can be the alternative. There's nothing wrong with that. It will be free for it will definitely free them from encumbrances of ties and suits, and even the sweat that go with it that inhibits them from fully engaging their potentials. It will enable them to think more strategically for more cutting-edge innovations and larger profit before tax, as the case is today with our company. The actualization of the Think Africa project will create jobs, revive our recessed economy, promote our identity, and create enduring wealth. I tell you, we must rise now and embrace this. It is then and only then that Africa will be free at last. My name is Chinasa Jonathan Ojei, the face of corporate African dress code. Thank you for listening.